Welcome back to the channel. It's predatororpreyonline. Thanks for coming back, subscribing, all that good stuffs. We're going to do the back to basics I've been promising for ages, so it's going to be the video about Spiderling care. Basically it's going to be, first things first, it's going to be housing your slings. So I'll show the different pot sizes that I've got for different size spiders. So I've got like everything from 0.5 or less centimeter spiders all the way up to about 4 or 5 centimeters, and we'll show from the ground up how I build it, what I do for water, what I do for substrate, what I do for ventilation, all that kind of jazz, and then I'll actually rehouse 2 spiders, so the Cyriopagopus species Hattie, the Hattie purples, and the Poecilotheria ricalis, so the Indian ornamentals. And I had an egg sac from both of them Christmas 2016, so January 2017, so last January. So they're like this now. So that'll be fun. I want to go straight into it because it's going to be quite a long video, there's a lot to cover. So again, thanks guys. Let's have a look at this. Okay, so first things first, before obviously you want to buy a Spiderling, you've decided which slings, which species you want. You're going to look what size they are, and then you're going to have to decide what enclosure or what pot or what tub you've got that can accommodate that size of sling. So I've just put out a few of what I've got here to house my Spiderlings and things that I've built up over the years. So the first ones are these little neotropic Spiderling pots. These ones come off the spider shop. They're really good. I don't tend to house things in these anymore that much because I don't normally have Spiderlings that are that small, because I like Asian Arboreal stuff, usually come out about 2 centimeters. They're no problem though, you can keep them in this. I've got so basically medical sample pots, which I got from eBay. They're really good because they can house Fossorials, just fill them all the way up, and obviously you can fill Arboreals, just use a little bit of substrate at the bottom. You can put plenty of holes in the tops of them, they're cracking. These ones are like lab sample tubes. These ones I found really good with pokies, but only for literally the first stages, just after the nymph stage, so when they start to be Spiderling, so like maybe like N2, N3, nothing more. As soon as they start to get 3 centimeters or more, they're useless. The camera film pot. The camera film pot is my go-to for anything, for sending Spiderlings, for housing small Spiderlings, because they're nice and closed, they're dark for them, I don't need to see them. But obviously they're really cracking, but you're going to be really difficult to find these ones anywhere nowadays. It's all gone digital. These ones are really cracking. Now these are from eBay. I don't know what they are, what size they are. I think they're about like 100 mil. Deli pots basically for sauces, for like kebabs, so you can get your sauces, or your Indian takeaways, send you the sauces on them. I found them on eBay in bulk, and I bought like 4,000 of them. Really cheap, really cheap. Hinged lid. They're cracking. That's what I've got a lot of my Spiderlings in now, especially the really tiny ones. And then once obviously your Spiderlings get a little bit bigger, you can pop them in these. These are 500 ml jars, and I'm sure I get these online, but because I buy them in bulk, I've got about maybe 400 or 500 of them still here. But you can get them from places like the spider shop, they sell them. Other places where eBay will have them as well. They're quite reasonably priced. They'll work out probably if you buy them from a retailer, they'll be about between 80 pence and £1 each. But if you've only got a couple of Spiderlings, they're absolutely awesome. And then when they get bigger, then these are perfect for anything apart from terrestrial spiders. I as you know, I don't really have that many terrestrial spiders, so I either have Fossorials, which are obligate burrowers, so they're full, or I have Arboreal spiders, and they've got a nice bit of height to them as well. Really sturdy, you can see through them. This one's a bit dirty. I say dirty, it's just got covered in web, but really versatile pot for your bigger stuff. Now, when it comes to choosing your pot, terrestrial spiders, you can make do with anything bigger than like 2.5 times their leg span for floor space, for terrestrial. For an obligate burrower, the same, 2.5 times their leg span but depth. And then for arboreals, and again, so 2.5 times their leg span for height. That's kind of my rough estimate to how I look at things, and that's when they're in their first stages. But anything really that you can, you know, beg, borrow, or steal to get to house your spiderlings will do. Most things just need a few air holes in them. Avicularia species or carabiner, they need a little bit more ventilation, but not too much, to be honest. You want enough ventilation in it that they don't go stagnant and get mold, but you don't want too much in there that they can dry out, you know, overnight. I'm going to, so this one, you can see that this one here now, so I can't get too much closer than that, but what I'll do is I'll take a photo now off camera. I'll put it here. This is what I'm housing the Pteranopelma sasmayan, so there's hundreds of them down there, you've probably seen them. And you know, really for my rule of floor space, you know, it's probably 10 times their leg span. But I don't want to be faffing about for every single time they molt. I don't want to rehouse them every single time, so I want to let them grow to about 4 centimeters, 3 centimeters, and then I can rehouse them from these. Cool, so really I wanted to show how things grow and how they can outgrow their pots really quite easily. Now, these two pots here, like I said at the start of the video, this is Fossorial regalis, and you can see, you should be able to see, the leg span of that is over half, basically the floor space of the pot. It's a big little, you know, it's a big little thing. Big little thing, that's an oxymoron. But I want to rehouse that one. And also then, this is a Cyberprocopus hattie, species hattie, and one, it's bordering outgrowing the tub, but also there's mold starting to get into the bottom of it. Dry mold as well, which is even worse, white dry mold. It's disgusting. So I'm going to put them into these. Now, these are wicked. Ventilation in the top, and my way of doing it is I put one every kind of 2.5 centimeters and then fill in the gaps. This one was done for me, and there's loads there. Loads of ventilation in this one. I'm going to fill, obviously hattie are kind of, they're supposed to be arboreal, but in my experience they're a bit of both. So a lot like porkies, they like height, but they also like to be dark and safe, so they will burrow under the soil, under the substrate, and they'll make silken retreats there, clinging onto the cork bark or the tubes, and then burrowing down into the sub. So I'm going to put about a good 2 inches of substrate of this, approaching half the tub. I'll do that now. And it's not an exact science. Do it until you feel like that's enough. Sand. So if you're doing, this is a good trick. you're doing a lot of the same pots. Instead of getting yourself some kind of pokey device to like push down the substrate, just use the other tub. What the fuck was that? That was pretty funny. Pokey, just get the other tub. You can press it down. And your substrate will be absolutely lovely and level. It's a trick from doing hundreds of pots at the same time. So I've got a cork. It was part of a cork tube that I smashed up. All I want to do is just lean it to one side. And enough room, because now they're big enough, they can have a water dish in with them. And the water dish I'm going to use is a milk bottle top. I've been saving these, I save them all the time, just in case. So we put that there as well. And it just looks like that. And here's one I made earlier. So the cork is basically for anything to attach their webbing, somewhere behind that they can create their own little retreat, and they've also got now some thickness, some depth, sorry, to burrow down if they want to. Don't worry about drowning spiderlings in water bowls. It almost 99.9% of the time never happens. And the reason being is that most spiderlings are too light to, you know, they lack the density and also the seti, the hairs on their trap oxygen, basically, trap air, and they can't break the surface tension of the water. If you find a spiderling dead inside a water bowl, it's probably dying anyway. And I've said this a lot before, you know, I'm a large proponent of the water dish in spiderling pots. I don't do it for these ones, they're far too small. And far too small a pot. I get by on that by every kind of 2 to 3 days. I just lightly spray the edge of the plastic, leaving you know, droplets of water on the sides, and that seems to do them fine. I don't have hardly any losses at all. Cool. So these are our two. I like to keep most of my pots, if I can, uniform. And that's not because you have to keep them uniform or the spider likes it for it to be uniform. It's the fact that my my crazy OCD head will go off on one. I like all my tanks, if there's a corkback tube in them, they all have to lean the same way on the shelf. Otherwise I'll lose it, and that's just me. But you know, you can just plonk them in if you want, as long as they're about the same. Happy days. This one actually has ground ventilation across it, so it's got holes going all the way around the layer of the substrate. It's also got ones going up the top here, and it's got ones on the top as well. A little bit overkill in my opinion, but it won't really do that much harm, because I'm going to be looking after this one keeping an eye on it extremely well. So sweltering here today. So in this one I'm going to put the Regalis, and in this one I'm going to put the Hattie. I need some tweezers. You don't have to have tweezers, I'm just used to using tweezers. You can use a paintbrush, you know, soft-ended paintbrush, or even a biro. Anything that you can softly coax a spider into is the better. Now, I would say if you're not confident at this point about putting the spider straight into the pot with no kind of drama or hassle, the best place in your whole house to rehouse a spider is in your bath. Put the plug in, rinse it all down first with warm water, put the plug in, just give it a bit of a wipe there, put your pots inside, open both the pots, and then go from there. The reason being is you can actually lean over the top of it, it will take a lot longer time for them to run out of the pot, up the bath and out, giving you a lot more time to wrangle them back into a pot. Here, I've been doing this for decades now, and when I put spiderlings out of the egg sac into their pots, so when I started potting these up, I did it in the bath as well. But I can do this here. I'll probably lose it now on camera, but that's half the fun, innit? Cool. Regardless first. I'm sorry, I wanted to be really close up, as I say, like bird's eye Blue Peter kind of view, but I've broken or lost a piece of my tripod. That's it, tripod. I may have had a beer in the sun earlier. And straight in. And that now will be this one's home until it's about probably 7 centimeters leg span. And then once it's 7 centimeter leg span, or maybe 7 or 8 centimeters, I can put it into its adult enclosure and it'll stay there until it's adult. It'll grow into it. I would say, as starting out, if you're going right, as this is right back to basics, you want to think ahead so that you literally rehouse that spider as little as possible, especially when you're dealing with things like Poecilotheria, old worlds, OBTs, that kind of stuff. The least that you can bother it, the least chance you've got of losing it, the least chance you've got of being bitten by it, the least chance you've got of damaging the spider and hurting it. Less is more always when you're doing this. Less is more. Right, there's about 4 molts in here as well. This is the Hattie. So you remember now as well, I put that there because I've got to label it. Obviously I know the difference between a Pokey and Hattie. But when you're doing spiderlings, you might buy 5, they're all, at that time, they all look like little beige coloured dots. So you have no idea which ones are which, so it's really important to label them as you go along. Where are you? Aha, I found you! So this was actually quite big, bloody hell. It's bigger than I thought. Now this one, because it's made of, it's tube. Right, so its tube is underneath the actual cork back itself. I'm just going to pop it inside and then coax it out. There you are. Wow, you are a lot bigger than I thought you were. That is cracking. Let's see if I can not disturb it and you can see the size in it. Can you see it? We're talking a good 4 centimeters, yeah, no, 4 centimeters, 3.5 to 4 centimeters. So, there we go. And that one's the Hattie. Right, now then, that was literally just an explanation about pots and a little rehouse. What I want now is I'm going to do a back to basics sling care 2. But I want to know from you guys, what do you want to know about? What questions do you have? What do you want to see? What do you want to see me do? I really want your participation in this, please. So down below in the comment section, type exactly what you want to see and I'll do it. I have no qualms in doing any kind of spiderling, any kind of explanation about what pots you would use or when to feed or that kind of stuff. Good point, Gar. Feeding. So, I feed my spiderlings maybe once a week, so 7 days to 10 days. You can do it, a lot of people do it once a week, a lot of people do it twice a week. The reason I do it once every 7 to 10 days is, one, I'm not bothered about growing them on that fast, and two, it's not really as hot as I want it to be in this room. If I kept them hotter, I would feed them more often, and that would increase their growth and I'd have a lot more maturing faster. But I find that the faster you make them mature, the longer life, the less of a lifespan they'll have, and the smaller egg sacs that they produce as well. So I like to do everything slow-vach. I'm just going to sit, obviously there's not many people buying Terranopelma sazmai, but that really doesn't bother me, because I will sit on 200 or 300 of them and grow them on for 2 years. I don't mind, it doesn't bother me at all. Really, patience is the key to spiderlings, because a lot of stuff will take 8 years to mature. So a Phonopelma, that's a nice and easy one, that'll take like 4 years, 5 years. Iodius, 5-6 years. It's crazy. You know, it's not as bad as some of the beetles, but bonkers. Anyway, if this has been helpful to you, please let me know. I'd like you to hit that bell button, subscribe, share with your friends if possible, guys. I want to get this channel growing. If you can suggest anything for me to do, I'll do it. Within reason. I'm not going to get bitten by something just to show on fucking YouTube. You can go fuck yourselves with that. But anything else, let's do it. Okay, like, comment, subscribe, keep coming back, humouring me, thank you for coming back, I do appreciate it. Hit the bell button, like I said. Western Invertebrate shows on the 22nd of July, I'll be there. I'm gonna be walking around filming some shit, I hope to see you there. Also, if you want to buy some Terranopelma sazmai and help me out because I've got hundreds of mouths to feed, please hit me up. Cheers guys, stay safe.